more people kind of trickle in as we go along. But thank you all again for joining today's session. For those of you who have joined us in the past, welcome back. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm Alicia McLeod. I'm a program coordinator with Western Entrepreneurship. And for those of you who are not familiar with Western Entrepreneurship, we provide advice, guidance, and resources for those in our community with the intent and purpose of helping them become successful entrepreneurs. In addition to our services, we do have a business advisor who holds dedicated one-to-one sessions with Western students and alumni to help answer any entrepreneurial questions you might have and give general business advice. To book a one-to-one meeting, you can visit our website, which is propel.uwo.ca, to schedule a coaching session. Okay, so let's get started. If you've been tuning in these last several weeks, you'll know that we've been offering a series of webinars with the goal of providing our community with business education and information in a virtual format. So today, it's our pleasure to welcome Bruce Lamb, serial entrepreneur and one of Western Entrepreneurship's EIRs, which is Entrepreneur in Residence, advising on our new ventures program. Bruce is president and CEO of Avalanche Search Marketing Incorporated. Avalanche is in the business of helping you market your company's products and services online. They provide search engine optimization, Facebook marketing, and Google, Bing, Yahoo paid solutions for clients in all facets of business. Bruce describes himself as a serial entrepreneur. Following his early activities selling horse manure and firewood, he earned an honors degree in business administration from Ivy School of Business. Though people close to him tell him he's great at sales, his love is programming. We can't wait to get started with Bruce today, and while we only have him for an hour, we would love for you to engage with us during the talk. If you have any questions throughout the time, please use the Q&A function located at the bottom of your screen, and we'll do our best with the time remaining to answer any questions that we have at the end of the presentation. This presentation will be recorded, and a link has been added to a follow-up email for everyone who can't perhaps stay for the presentation or wants to rewatch. That link will be provided to you so you can watch the recording at a later date. So without further ado, Bruce, the floor is yours.
Thanks very much, Alicia. And it is a pleasure to be here this afternoon. I've done this presentation a number of times over the years, most recently back in January at the Ivy Business School. And of course, it evolves over the years as well. So, but this is the first time I've done this as a webinar. I've done it always in person. So the COVID-19 situation, it's really opened the doors for us to try some things that we may not have either been comfortable or just didn't have the need to try before. And so, I'm seeing 71 people online right now watching this. So this is great to see that we've got this many people taking part. We're going to cover today a bunch of things, and it's going to go reasonably quickly. It's going to be recorded, so you can download the recording or watch the recording later. But I'm going to talk about the digital marketing space, what's involved in digital marketing, what digital marketing is ultimately comprised of, what are the advantages of this digital marketing over traditional marketing, what are the disadvantages, because there are some disadvantages with digital marketing. COVID-19, interesting time. So is it time to pivot your digital marketing or to digital marketing for your company? And so I've got two case studies of very recent things that I've been involved with where the companies either held pat with their strategy or pivoted to a digital marketing place. I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of each major platform based on our experience. We're a small company, but we've got a lot of experience with the various platforms, and we can tell you at least a little bit from our perspective what works and what doesn't. And then I'm going to do a little bit of a dive into Google and Facebook's interfaces live. I'm going to actually go in there live and show you a little bit how you can use Facebook and Google for doing research. And this is really valuable if you're thinking of starting a company. It gives you a way better idea of whether or not the idea that you're going forth with for your business has legs, or what the challenges might be, or is there actually a market for it. So let's get into this. As Alicia mentioned, HBA 1985, this is 35 years now since I graduated from the HBA program. About 3 years after graduating, my wife and I started Automated Design Systems, which is an AutoCAD dealer. It was an AutoCAD dealer. That was back in 1988. And AutoCAD as a software program for computer-aided design was brand new on the market at that point. But we started up the company. We built it up to $7 million in sales, 11 offices, 55 employees. But by the time we got into the late 90s, we were starting to look for a way out. We knew that that market was not going to grow as it had in the past. While we were running automated design systems, the World Wide Web was released in 1994 is when the web really people started to notice what the World Wide Web was about. And so in 1995, I registered my first domain, I built my first website, and then I waited. And of course, nobody came to my new website because nobody could find it. And so that's how I got into search engine optimization, was making sure that I could get, or that my website for selling AutoCAD was going to be found in the major search engines. As we were looking for a way out of the AutoCAD business, we started pitching to some of our AutoCAD clients. It was a three-pronged program for their website, one of the elements of which was search engine optimization. And almost without exception, people say, well, I don't need this and I don't need that, but tell me more about the SEO stuff that you're talking about there. And they were fascinated that we could actually impact the rankings of the major search engines of the day. So in 2003, we shifted gears totally. We shut down automated design systems, and we focused 100% on SEO from that point forward. And 2002 is actually when we sold our first search engine optimization program to a company. And actually, we've still got 4 clients from way back in 2002 that pay us monthly to do what we do, which is to keep their websites really well placed. We added Google Ads and Facebook Ads management in 2013. We'd always sort of offered it a little bit to clients that were good clients that we could help out. But in 2013, Google made a major change, and it really clobbered a bunch of our clients in terms of our ability to keep them well placed. And so we didn't have the ability to use traditional SEO, search engine optimization, to get them well placed. And so we wanted to be able to offer them management of their Google Ads campaign, or looking at Facebook marketing as a way for them to get the word out about their business. I want to start by talking a little about the definition of digital marketing. So digital marketing is obviously using the internet, using online digital technology such as desktop computers, mobile phones, and other digital media as the platform to promote your products and services. And there's a subtle difference between online marketing and digital marketing. That subtle difference is in stuff that is not internet related. So if you think of somebody doing a text message campaign, they've got a bunch of people's cell phone addresses, they want to just let people know by text message that there's a new promotion coming out. That would be still digital marketing, but it wouldn't be online marketing. That's not involving the internet at all when you're doing that. For our purposes, and certainly for our company's purposes, digital marketing, though, generally, it's all about the internet. So the components there of digital marketing, search engine optimization is the one that I love, near and dear to my heart, because that's how we got into this business. So getting a website well placed within the organic or the traditional results that a search engine would produce for people. Search engine marketing is just a minor tweak on that, in that you're paying now for the ads, for your ad to show up on Google in and amongst the regular organic search engine results. And then social media marketing, working with Facebook and Instagram, can be paid, can be not paid. You can certainly develop a Facebook page or an Instagram account and get people coming to that page regularly and visiting it and interacting with it, and you don't have to pay anything for that to happen. But in a lot of cases, your best bet is to actually pay Facebook and Instagram to boost posts and get you more engaged with the market that's coming to your website or to your Facebook page, that is. Email marketing is huge. I'll talk a little bit about an example of email marketing that we've been doing for a charity. It's been phenomenal in terms of its results. So that's a big component of digital marketing. Blog and content marketing is another one to consider. So just building content about a particular topic that you're passionate about, or that your business is passionate about, and getting people to subscribe to your blog posts. Certainly with blog content that gets posted and then emailed out to folks who have requested to be notified about this sort of thing, it can be a very effective way of communicating with folks. I mentioned text message marketing. So a perfect example of that, there's a company here in London, Play It Again Sports. I went in there to buy some hockey equipment. They for sure said, hey, do you want to sign up on our text message app? And basically what happens is every now and then they just send you a little special by text message. Very low cost from their perspective, very effective, and it keeps their customers engaged with them. And then I'm a big fan of this next one, which is remarketing or retargeting. Google uses the term remarketing, Facebook uses retargeting, but the idea is that if somebody comes to your website, you're able to then reinforce your brand by showing that person display ads on all sorts of different other websites that reinforces the brand. It's a display marketing example. I'm going to show a couple of examples of all of these things right next. So you'll see on the right side of this screen, in this case, the search that I've done is for HVAC contractors, London, Ontario. And in the organic results, so nobody's paying for this, there's a bunch of results that come in. There's three map results that show up. And this is actually one of our clients, Builder's Choice Heating and Furnace Repair. So they are one of our clients showing up in the map results in the first position. And also below the map results, in this case, we've got Builder's Choice Air coming up as well. So they're the top result for HVAC contractors, London, Ontario. And so these are organic results. Builder's Choice pays us to do what we do, which is to get them well placed here, but we're not paying Google for any of this placement that's showing up here. On the right side of the screen, we've got Lawyer Referral Toronto is the search query. And in this case, what I want to show is the SEM side of things. So this is, these are ads, and Google is forced to, I don't know if they, I guess they ultimately have to show people that these are ads. These are not what Google has chosen to do, other than they've chosen to allow people to pay to be at the top of the rankings. And so you'll always see any ads, they should always be delineated by the word ad or advertisement or something that says that it is a paid placement in here. So this is one of our clients, at David is what it's called, and he does a lawyer referral service. So these are paid, and that's considered SEM, so search engine marketing. There's something new that's coming out as well. Google's continually evolving. And this new thing is called local service ads. And if you're looking for a plumber or an electrician or an HVAC contractor, whatever, something related to a local service, Google is now starting to show ads in a 3-pack up top here. So in this case, we've got Reliance Home Comfort, we've got Enercare, Roy Inch & Sons as local London companies, and they are paying for these placements. So this is a new thing that Google's putting out. I talked about remarketing, and Google's got a network of 2 million plus websites on which ads can be displayed. So display ads. And so in this case, here's one of our clients, Ideal Warehouse. And my wife, Jenny, we just bought this mower here. So she's was looking at a video on YouTube on all of the features of this mower, and up pops this ad for Ideal Warehouse because Jenny had been to the Ideal Warehouse Innovations website earlier. And so as a way of reinforcing the brand, now these ads start popping up all over the place. And here's the same sort of thing on AccuWeather, which is our client, Arc Electric. So Jenny was on AccuWeather, all of a sudden an ad pops up for Arc Electric. And it's because Jenny had been to the Arc Electric website recently. And that gives you an idea of the types of digital platforms on which you can have display ads shown. In this case, this is remarketing because these people, or Jenny in this case, had already been to the website. But in some cases, you can just say, you know what? I would like to target my ads to people who are looking at lawnmowers on YouTube. And generally speaking, Google will try to figure out where these particular properties or YouTube videos are that mention lawnmowers and start showing ads to that. So you can do display ads without having to do the remarketing side of things. Facebook ads, there's 2 main types of Facebook ads. The first one is inline. So as you're scrolling through your feed, your news feed of what all your friends are doing, all of a sudden you come across a, oh, pardon me here, get back there, okay. All of a sudden you come across an ad for a product, and the advertiser has targeted you, which I'll go into a little bit later, to see those ads. Now, in this case, they're showing a Porsche ad to me. I'm actually not interested in a Porsche, but I might be in a demographic audience that they would consider to be a likely purchaser of a Porsche, that is. And it's probably just because I'm an old guy, you know, maybe nearing retirement, need to have a fling in a sports car or something like that. On the other side, on the side panel here, this is also a paid ad with Facebook, and it's a side panel ad. probably paying the same price for this. In this case, it's a paving company. How they figured out that I would be a person who might be interested in paving, I'm not sure, but they know who their customer is, and they're going to be targeting ads towards the people who are most likely to be buying that sort of a product. Instagram, same sort of thing. I'm not super active on Instagram, but as you're scrolling through Instagram, you're going to tend to see ads show up every now and then. In this case, as I was scrolling through, I tend to see a lot of things from Western University, which makes sense. I'm engaged within the Western University community, and my guess is that Western is probably paying Instagram a little bit to boost their posts. One of the things about the way Facebook and Instagram work, they're interrelated basically. Facebook owns Instagram, is that if you build up a lot of people who like your website or like your Facebook page, that is, or like your Instagram account, Facebook will show your posts to only a small percentage of those people. I've worked it out to be give or take 2%. So I do, if I've got, let's say 1,000 people who have liked my Facebook page and I do a post on Facebook, chances are pretty good only about 20 people are going to see that, unless I boost the post, unless I pay Facebook to show it to more people. And it's very inexpensive. It might only be a penny per person, but that's how Facebook makes their money, is by making you pay to have these posts done up. And I suspect that's what Western University has done here with these Instagram posts, is they're probably boosting them to the community that's liking the page. So talk a little bit about the advantages of digital marketing. I think the biggest one is that it is low cost, and low cost most of the time. You really do have to watch it, but generally speaking, you can be doing ads with very small budgets and fairly low cost. And certainly as compared to newspaper ads, magazine ads, radio ads, television ads, sort of the traditional marketing that we used to have to do, direct mail even, digital marketing is very inexpensive, and you can do it yourself. You don't need to hire a company such as us to do it. You can absolutely pop in and set up a Facebook ads account or a Google ads account and start running the ads yourselves. Better analytics. You can really analyze who's coming to your website, where they're coming from. You can get the demographics. When you're running Facebook ads, you can get demographics of age and location, that sort of thing. And sort of related to that, you can target your ads much better than you've ever been able to target before. And I'll show some examples of that when we go live. But the targeting, your ability to pick an audience that you think is likely to buy your product, is so much better with digital marketing than it would be with traditional forms of marketing. At the same time, you could get very narrow in your demographic targeting. You could also get wide, super wide. You could go out to the entire country. You could go out almost to the entire world. There's something like 2.4 billion people on Facebook, like active users on Facebook. That's massive reach. And so it's easy to leverage that massive reach of these platforms. And one thing that I really, really like is the fast optimization of ads. So what I call, or what they call actually, A/B testing. So we did that with a Google campaign. I'll show that a little bit later as well, where my campaign was going along, but I thought it was waning a bit. Let's try something different, but let's not throw all our eggs in one basket. Let's try compare this new strategy to the existing strategy and see which one pulls better. And you can really make that happen very quickly in a digital marketing platform, whereas you really couldn't do that with traditional marketing elements. There are disadvantages though. The ad management user interface can get complicated over time, and sort of the bigger you are, and I'm sure that Facebook and Google particularly added a lot of features for the very, very big advertisers. Well, for the small guy who just needs to place an ad, it can get very complicated. So for some people, it's just not their cup of tea, and those are the same sort of people who would hire us to manage it for them. It's also very easy to waste money if it's not set up correctly, and don't trust Google to set it up correctly. In fact, we've got a client of ours who had shut things totally down because of the COVID-19 thing. Wanted to sort of tip her toe in the water again to see if she could start advertising on Google, and didn't want to bug me with it. And of course, we charge money for managing this sort of stuff. She's trying to do it on her own. And so she talked to one of the Google specialists, quote unquote, and they set it up, and they basically got her spending her, not a huge budget. I think it was $20 a day. And they were basically wasting all of her money with it. They just did not set it up properly in terms of identifying where her market was and the sort of things that people were going to be we're going to be likely to be able to buy from her. So she called me up and I popped in there and I did a bunch of things, and it's now running well, and I'm not charging her for it because she's a good client. She'll be back and she'll be spending big bucks later on. But yeah, you can really throw a lot of money away if you're not running it correctly. If you do have problems, good luck tracking down a person at Google and Facebook. Particularly now, we've had some challenges in the last 2 months just trying to get a hold of somebody when something's messing up, and so that's been very frustrating to deal with. And you can actually annoy potential customers by being too visible, particularly with that remarketing. So you think, okay, I'm just going to visit this website, and all of a sudden you start seeing ads everywhere you turn for this company. Well, that eventually starts to turn you off. So you can manage that. You can actually throttle it and say, okay, only show my ad 3 times per person per day. Maybe that's the maximum, or maybe once per day. But yeah, you got to watch that, and you got to be able to manage it. And then the last major disadvantage of digital marketing is you are subject to what's called click fraud. And that's where you're paying for clicks where it's not a true customer. So imagine you're a dentist and you're starting to do some ads, and you see this dentist, this arch rival dentist around the corner who's also doing ads. Well, you could very easily get up in the morning and do a search for a dentist in your community, and then click on your arch rival competitor's ad and cost them a couple of bucks. And if you get a couple of people to do that, you can actually blow through their budget by 9 o'clock in the morning, and then that frees, well, that basically means that any of their advertising dollars are wasted. Now, just so you know, somebody else will be popping in there. It's not like you're going to get rid of all of the competition by doing that. Google will find somebody else to take the spot. But there was a time, at least, it was estimated that about 15% of your clicks were click fraud. I don't think that's actually the case these days as much, but I can tell you that it'd be very easy to see that 15% or more of the clicks are simply not clients. Maybe not be fraud, but one of the examples I'll show is Arc Electric, and we were getting a ton of people clicking on ads that were looking for electrician jobs or how to become an electrician or training, and they were basically costing my client money. So you have to be aware of that as well. So let's go into a couple of case studies there. So I mentioned Arc Electric, a client of ours, and then the other one is Luganbidal's Recreation Committee, and we've got a card draw. So I'll go into both of these in some depth. So arcelectriclondon.com. I just met Chris, who owns this company, in January. Like this website. His website was well put together, but he wasn't getting any leads from it. And it's a young business. He just started off on his own here in the London area in 2019. He was in the Greater Toronto area before. And as a young company, cost is an issue. Actually, I think with all companies, cost is an issue. I don't think I've ever had anybody come and say, spend whatever you'd like, cost is no issue. But yeah, cost is certainly an issue when you're a young company. But he still wants to grow. And one of the challenging parts of this project is that he lives in and is ultimately based in Strathroy, so just west of London in 20 minutes. But he wants to market to the London area because obviously that's a much bigger market. I'll go into why that's a challenge in a couple of seconds. So end of January, we implemented a solution for him. The first part of the solution was an organic SEO, search engine optimization program, targeting 4 phrases. I think it was licensed electrician, London, Ontario, electrician, London, Ontario, 24-hour electrician, London, Ontario, and one other. But these were the sort of the main phrases for his market. We also started running Google ads, limited budget, not a ton of money. I think we were putting $10 or $12 a day towards the Google ads budget. And the reason we did that, certainly initially, was because we knew that the search engine optimization that we do, it takes time. It doesn't happen instantly. So in the meantime, we wanted to make sure he had leads coming in, and so that's why we went with the Google ads. And then the Google remarketing. Once people have hit the website, we want to be able to reinforce the Arc Electric brand to them day after day, so that when they're ready to buy the product, when they're ready to call the electrician, they just automatically think of Arc Electric. So we started this late January, and then 6 weeks later, things shut down. Chris wasn't able to get into houses. Everything was shut down. He had one employee. The employee was laid off, and he gave me a call and said, like, this is not good. So we worked at a plan with him. My goal as a businessman is to have a client for life. So, if I've got to go through and have a little pain myself for 2 or 3 months, well, a client gets through a tough spot, which is exactly where Chris was, I'm happy to do it. So I said, listen, we'll keep on doing the SEO and we won't charge you for the next couple months until things start picking up again. Let's keep on going with the Google ads, but I'm not going to charge you for our time managing that part of things, and definitely keep going with Google remarketing because it's very inexpensive. So he bounced back. So the Google placement since, mid-March, it had been growing to there, and now we are on page 1 of Google for all 4 of the phrases that we're targeting. We're not right at the top of page 1, but we're on page 1. So it's a gradual evolution to try to work the client up to the top of the rankings. Probably the biggest thing that happened is just between the organic search engine optimization and then the paid ads, we got our volume of people who had visited the website up high enough that the Google remarketing kicked in. So Google will only start showing ads when you hit a threshold of between 150 and 200 people who have visited your website. And as soon as you do that, then it starts showing these ads to these people. And I think we're up to 300 plus people now that have visited the website. But all of a sudden, these ads started showing up in people's feed. I was at a networking meeting that Chris usually shows up for, and he didn't show up this one day. This is just an online meeting. I thought, I wonder what's going on. And sure enough, finding out later, he's busy as heck right now. And so he ended up, he was so busy he couldn't go to the network meeting. I ended up chatting with him saying, like, he was actually saying, you might want to turn off the remarketing for a time because I'm so busy. And we chatted a little bit more and we decided to keep it going. But he's now looking to hire a journeyman electrician to help him out. And he's done this in a pandemic. So the guy that he laid off ended up finding some work elsewhere. So he's looking for somebody new now. But during a pandemic, we've been able to use this sort of a marketing keep with the program and generate some business for him, some real business. So that's going to allow him to grow his business. One thing I should say is that because of the fact that he lives in and is based out of Strathroy, and we're trying to get him found in London, Google knows where you are. And so our placement in Strathroy is phenomenal. Placement in London is not as good, but we're getting there. I'll show some examples of that a little bit later. The second case study I want to go with is the Lucan Biddulph Recreation Committee. And so this is a sort of a subset of the Lucan Lions Club, and I'm a member of the Lucan Lions Club. And we've had this car draw for about 30 years. And I think that the website was probably built when that car draw first went live, because it's a pretty old, clunky website. But you know what, it works, so I'm okay with that. And so we run this car draw. The car costs about $50,000 bucks. We go out there, we take this car to shopping malls, we take it to car shows, that sort of thing. And we buy this car for this car draw like well in advance of when we start selling tickets. So we bought this car, I think it was summer of last year is when we bought it. And this is the biggest fundraiser that we've got for the Lucan Lions Club. So the funds generated support Sunshine Dreams for Kids, which is based here in London, as well as our Lions Club. So over the years, we've done traditional marketing, mostly traditional marketing. And by traditional, I mean actually hands-on, be there selling tickets, sitting next to the car. We had also embarked probably 4 or 5 years ago on starting to record everybody's email address when they bought tickets. And so we had a pretty substantial email list compiled as well. We're allowed to sell 60,000 tickets, and we've actually sold out in the last 2 draws. So it's been a very good fundraiser for us, as I said. We start the ticket sales in March 1st. Draw date is December 26th. And I get an email from my contact who processes a lot of the orders and manages this whole program. And I get an email on March 17th saying, Bruce, I don't know if we're going to be able to even break even with the car this year. He said, all of the malls are shutting down. The car shows, everything's being canceled up and into the summer already. Like, we're in trouble here. What do you think? So, well, we're already doing SEO on it. I sort of do some free SEO for this, but it's not like there's a lot of people out there searching for car draw tickets. So you're not going to get anywhere close to the number of ticket sales from that as you would want to have. I said, let's try some Facebook marketing. So our board of directors authorized a $300 spend over 7 days to see if we could make this work. And we started targeting people who were interested in classic cars and muscle cars, and people who were Lions members, because again, we're associated, this Lucan Elk Recreation Committee is associated with the Lucan Lions. And we wanted to go out within 80 kilometers of Lucan. So that incorporates London and a couple of other towns to the west and east of London. In 24 hours, we knew we had a winner. Okay, we sold 171 tickets online based on just under $43 worth of Facebook ads. So $572 for $42 in Facebook ads, that's a pretty good return. And since then, we've gone up to $100 per day and added Google remarketing in there as well. We could certainly go higher than $100 a day, but between Larry, who processes the tickets, and his wife, who I think actually writes out and mails out the tickets and all the other stuff, I think that's about all they can handle is that much volume. So it was a big pivot. We learned a couple of things in this process for this particular charity and for this particular project. And the first is that target audiences tend to run dry over time. So we had gone out again within 80 kilometers of the London area to the people who like muscle cars and classic cars and who were Lions members. The sales were really good the first day, but by the 10th day, we were starting to see the sales wane a bit. So we had to work a little bit with how far afield can we go, and now we've just opened it up to all of Ontario, and that seems to be working pretty well. But even still, we see it we see it wane a little bit. So you have to keep on looking at the audience to see if you can make changes to the audience to try to get your sales to keep on going. One thing we ran into is that Facebook rejected our ad. It had been running for about 4 weeks, I think. All of a sudden they get this note saying, we've rejected your ad because you're asking people to share your post that we're boosting. We would say, hey, let your friends know we would really help. We would really like some help selling tickets. Please share this post. And you're not allowed to do that apparently. So instead we started a new ad and we said, please tell your friends about this charity draw. And of course everybody just shares it, but at least we're not telling them to share it. So it's a fine line, but I guess Google's okay, or Facebook is okay with this. And you run into some weird things that Facebook and Google reject things for. Related to the target audience running dry is that your cost per acquisition creeps up. And so you really have to monitor that and know when you see things starting to slip a few days in a row that, hey, it's time, we got to try something else. But the nice thing is that you've got this ability to do A/B testing. And I do that and say, let's start a test. Let's keep with the old way that we've been doing things, and let's try a new way of doing things. And let's see side by side with identical budgets, what's going to happen with this new test. And sometimes you get the feedback that you need really quickly. I just did one of these A/B tests last week, and my goodness, it was the number of clicks that we got to the website was 2.5 times with the new process and with the new audience that we'd selected as compared to the old one. It was just amazing how quickly we were able to see that. So it worked out well. And one of the differences that I found, again, it was, I don't know if I did a formal A/B test with this, but I had started off, I was targeting Toronto at one point, and I said, well, let's just go into Toronto and we'll target people who like muscle cars and classic cars. And the sales weren't that great. And so I said, well, let's try people who like Lions clubs and Rotary clubs and charities. And that's when sales started to take off. And so sometimes you have to sort of think a little bit about out of the box about who is likely to actually buy your product. And that's what you're able to test very, very easily with this. So in terms of how we have done overall, so we started in March. If we compare the totals between last year and this year, last year we sold 13,321 tickets by the end of May. This year we're just shy of 21,000 tickets by the end of May. So we're actually up 57% in our ticket sales, and costs are lower. You have to think, when we're taking this car, spending gas, putting this car into the trailer and taking it to a shopping mall and paying somebody, just to pay the person there that's sitting there selling tickets minimum wage. But I mean, that adds up. If there's a repair to the car for any reason because it's being traveled around the country, just all sorts of little tiny expenses that add up. All of a sudden, they weren't happening. And we were paying Facebook, but it was working out pretty well. So we're still trying new audiences. We're finding new audiences to target. But ultimately, what could have been a disastrous year for this car draw and for our Lions Club could end up being one of our best years yet. So as of now, the car is paid off. So we paid off the loan that we got from the Lupin Lions to buy the car originally, and it's probably one of the earliest dates it's ever been paid off. And so I'll put a plug in there now. If you want to go to winitcar.com, you can buy tickets for our car draw. And you'll also probably see a bunch of remarketing posts come up after that. So it'll give you a taste of what remarketing is all about as well. So let's go into a little bit of the digital marketing element details. So I'm going to talk a little bit about search engine optimization, search engine marketing, advantages, disadvantages, and also get into some tips for you if you want to do your own search engine optimization. And then we'll go into social media, the various platforms, where they really excel, where they're, some of them are, I think, dogs, but may be appropriate for some markets. And then we'll talk a little bit about remarketing on Google and Facebook. So search engine optimization, SEO is always changing. From day one, when I started optimizing my very first website, you could see that the search engines of the days, they were tweaking things as time went on and trying to ultimately produce better results for the user of the search engine. And just simply the volume of search engines. I mean, today it's really only Google, but when we started back in 2002, we were focusing on 8 different search engines: Alta Vista, Ask Jeeves, InfoSpace, Lycos, AOL, Yahoo, MSN, which is now Bing, and then Google was the new player on the market. So over 18 years, it really has changed quite a lot. And one of the biggest changes has been that there's really only one big player. So constant changes. In 2018, Google reported over 3,200 updates to its algorithm. So that's an average of almost 9 per day. Now, most of them you would not even notice. They may be very industry specific or geography specific, but it's still stuff that's happening all the time, and they're continually working on things and changing things. Google has got 89.89% of the market. That's as of end of last year. Bing is at about 5.5%. Both Google and Bing have got the organic results, so the non-paid results, as well as a pay-per-click model. So you can always get your ads showing up by just simply paying the search engine. Search engine marketing and search engine optimization are best when people are searching for what it is you're selling. So, and it's not always the case that people are searching for what it is that you're selling. But if you move into, if you move here into London, Ontario, and you are searching for a dentist, you're likely going to use a search engine and likely going to use Google in order to find that dentist. You're not looking in Yellow Pages if they even exist anymore. You're looking on Google. One of the things to bear in mind, though, is that organic search engine optimization can take a long time. So I mentioned Arc Electric when we started with him in January, and now we're first page of Google for all 4 of the phrases that we're targeting. That's only, well, it's only, from my perspective, it's 4 months that we've spent doing it. But you know what? That's actually a fairly quick response. We had and we still have a client, dentist in Whitby. Wouldn't think Whitby, being a relatively small town, certainly relative to London, wouldn't think it'd be that hard. It took us 18 months to get her on page 1 of Google for all 4 of the phrases that we were targeting. She's very patient with us, and we tried everything. We actually poured a ton of results, a ton of effort into that one. So sometimes they just take a long time. Whereas if you come to me and say, hey, I want to get up on a Google Ads campaign, I could get it up and running for you this afternoon. It's very, very quick to get a Google Ads campaign going. But the counter to that is that pay-per-click campaigns or PPC campaigns can get very expensive. So I was searching around to see if I could find a really absurdly expensive click. And Google reports that if you are wanting to bid on the phrase car accident lawyer, Queens, New York, you'll pay, if you were a lawyer doing car accident injury claims, you would be paying between $68 and $362 Canadian per click. That's a lot of money, and that's why Google makes a lot of money. So in that sense, organic SEO can be very good value. We actually have a personal injury lawyer client of ours in Mississauga, and he's getting phenomenal value compared to what he would have to pay for personal injury law clicks on Google. And his placement is phenomenal. It's been really, really good. One thing to note is that Google displays either local or regional or global results. In this case, I'm showing local and global results. So the phrase that I've got here on the left is emergency dentist. I'm sitting here in London, Ontario. I just busted my tooth. I'm looking for emergency dentist, but I didn't type in emergency dentist London, Ontario. I just said emergency dentist. Google knows where you are, and it's going to show you results that are close by to where you are. So in this case, and this is our client here, Dental Studio, they're coming up, and also below, they're in the third position below the map as well. But Google is localizing the results to show the most local result, not necessarily always the most local results, but it wants to show local results to you for some phrases. On the other hand, we've got our client here, Ava Parts. They do wastewater treatment plant pump parts. And so if somebody's searching for Worthington pump parts, they're coming up, as well as a bunch of competitors from, I'm back here, a bunch of competitors from around the world or around North America. Sometimes Google makes different decisions on there. I don't see any .co.uk sites in there. So this might be just North American, but Google will definitely try to narrow the results that it's showing to be relevant to where you are. So you need to keep that in mind as well. So here's some tips. If you're optimizing your own website, your title tag is super important. So the title is what appears on the tab on your browser. So you've got your browser, you've got your little tabs along the top. Your title tag will appear there. And that real estate is super, super important to Google, because that is in effect what Google considers your very short description of what that page is about. So if I go back to the previous example here, the Ava Parts title tag for the page that's appearing here is Parts for Worthington Pumps. And so I've made sure that that title tag is there, and that really has a big impact on whether you're going to show up in the rankings. And so if you don't have a title tag that says what it is you're trying to be found for, that's going to be a problem for you. You're putting yourself at a disadvantage, and yet it's a 5-minute thing to fix up. So make sure your title tag is relevant to what you're trying to be found for. If you're going in to try to get found for local results, so again, going back to our dentist example before, a Google My Business page and account is crucial. And that's what, again, I'll go back here, Dental Studio has got a Google My Business page, and that's basically a Google account that talks about the business. And it says where the business is, what the phone number is, what the hours of operations are. You might have some photos on there, that sort of thing. And that's what Google uses for the maps, but it also uses that for the traditional organic results as well. And so it's very important to the point where if a person is trying to be found for something that's local and they don't have a GMB page, it makes it virtually impossible for us to get them going, even if we don't want them to be found in the maps. So Google knows where the businesses are. You have to get your location with Google verified. So they'll send you a postcard with a little PIN number in it that you type into Google, and that will authorize you or verify you as a legitimate address. And they will not send those postcards to PO boxes. They know where the UPS store boxes are. They know where Regis executive offices are, that sort of thing. And so they're very good at knowing what are not legitimate business locations. A big thing, the next sort of tip that I'll give you is that if you want to get good rankings in Google, you really need to have good quality external links into your website. So a link from another website into your website. And that makes a huge difference. And in fact, that's where we as search engine optimization experts, we spend the bulk of our time looking for and building good links into our clients' websites. A good link could be maybe from your lawyer's website. Maybe you say, hey, listen, I'll give you a reference on your references page here, but when you put my reference in there, could you please have a link back to my website? That would be a good link. It's a local link. It's from a lawyer's office. It's just well respected-ish, I guess. And that would be a good link in my view as well. It doesn't have to be a link necessarily from a newspaper, although if you can get a link from a newspaper, a lot of times those are pretty valuable as well. One thing to note as well is that getting a lot of Google My Business reviews won't help ranking. You need to have a couple just so that Google sort of verifies that, yeah, you're a legitimate business and somebody's actually gone to the business and will give you a review. But we have not seen it such that the person with the highest number of reviews actually moves up the rankings at all. Very easy to scroll down the Google My Business rankings, the map rankings, and see lots of companies with tons of 5 stars, that sort of thing, really good reviews, but they're not ranking particularly well. We do think, though, that if you respond to a Google My Business review, that it might help. Just as much of anything to tell Google that you're actively engaged with the customers out there. So there's 4 tips for you that if you're optimizing your own website that could help you out a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about the social media platforms. So this is what is this? 2018, 2019. It's just behind my window here. Bear with me here. So 2019 October. This is the number of active users by all of the major search social media platforms. So Facebook is the Goliath out there, 2.4 billion monthly active users. YouTube not far behind at 2 billion. WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger 1.3, WeChat, Instagram at 1 billion. These are big numbers. And as you get down, you can see TikTok 500 million users, that sort of thing. Twitter's down at 330, LinkedIn down near the bottom 310, Pinterest 300 million. Still big numbers. But it gives you an idea of how big actually Facebook is. Look at Facebook. Between Facebook, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and Instagram, that's about 6 billion. It's all owned by Facebook. I'm pretty sure WhatsApp is owned by Facebook. That's a huge number of eyeballs that they've got control over. We find that Facebook is excellent for targeting very specific demographic audiences, and it can be potentially massive. So if I'm the government of Canada and I want to send an ad out to all of the people living in Canada, well, you're going to reach 25 million people on Facebook that live in Canada. That's a pretty good percentage of the population. Or you can get very narrow. So I could do an audience that I can sell or show ads to of men and women living in London, Ontario, who have become engaged to be married in the past year. And Facebook is reporting that there's 2,000 people in their database of users that fit that category. If I'm a wedding dress sales organization, if I'm a caterer or renting out wedding halls, that sort of thing, this is phenomenal. This is my customer right here. And I don't have to pay for all of the people who aren't my customer by putting an ad in a magazine that may or not be read by a future bride. We find Facebook ads to be very good value. And the example I've got here is for a mortgage broker mortgage broker that we work with in Toronto. Toronto's very competitive. We're paying a penny and a half per impression. So every time an ad is shown to somebody, that's an impression. 3 cents per person. So if a person sees the ad and has 2 impressions, I paid 3 cents for them, 1.5 cents per impression, but 3 cents for the person. So for the reach. And when they click on the ad, it's $1.45 per click. Seems like it might be a little bit high, but when you compare that to Google, where he was paying $7 or $8 per click, this was a bargain. And so our goal here was, as a mortgage broker, lots of people need mortgages. So let's just go out to sort of the demographic on Facebook. We think it's going to resonate the most with this. Usually it's an age-related category, and let's show ads there, and let's get people to our website, and then let's hit them with remarketing afterwards. And it's way less expensive than throwing money at Google ads. So amazing platform there. Facebook continues to grow. They're continuing to build their numbers month after month. I think they've done pretty well in North America, but certainly other markets they're growing. Instagram is owned by Facebook, and it's, in fact, when you start getting a Facebook ad going, by default, Instagram is included in that ad. Might be a duplicate audience, though. Certainly a lot of people who have got Instagram have got Facebook. Some do a post on one, it automatically goes on to the other. So you may be getting a duplicate audience there. And the one thing we've noticed is the cost per click can be significantly more than Facebook. Typically, I'm seeing it double or triple. So you really have to make sure that you're getting so you're getting good value for your ads on Instagram is what we found. You can also do video commercials on Instagram, and because you're able to have the same audience metrics, a demographic audience that you can define, again, that those 2,000 people who are engaged to be married in the next year, that's really valuable as well, to be able to do video ads out to a very well-defined audience. And again, Instagram continues to grow up to 1 billion daily active users now, or monthly active users. Snapchat's the next one I want to briefly talk about, briefly because I don't get it. I really don't. I've been trying to get my head wrapped around it. We've got a volunteer who works out here on our farm on Saturdays, and she's on Snapchat all the time. I think what I figured out is that she doesn't want to use her texting limits on her cell phone plan, so she hops onto my Wi-Fi here at the house and just uses my Wi-Fi signal to chat with her friends and keep in contact. So it's very much a teen-oriented platform. We do have one client that's using it. They're pediatric dentists, and they just want to have it so that when the younger folks are on it, they're seeing their ads. So the value per swipe up is what you do on Snapchat is half decent. So if you're going after a younger demographic, that's not a bad one. Their growth is sort of leveling out a little bit. I'm not sure what that's due to, but certainly 210 million active users is good. And again, if you're going after that teen market, that may be really good. TikTok, another one that's sort of up and coming, particularly during the pandemic. 500 million daily active users. 60% of monthly users in the US are 16 to 24 years old. So again, that teen to young adult demographic. And 43% of new users are in India. That astounded me. Is very interesting. The next stat actually astounded me as well. Oh, I should mention, I don't believe it's been a couple months since I checked. I don't believe there's actually a way of buying ads on TikTok. Maybe somebody can correct me on that if they've seen ads on TikTok, but we looked a couple months ago, couldn't find a way to do it. This next stat though astounded me. On the average day last year, more than 1 billion videos were viewed every day on TikTok. That's outstanding volume. They got a big server farms to be able to make that work as well. But yeah, they've got some big dollars behind them, and they've got certainly lots of people using them regularly. LinkedIn tends to be a business-to-business focus. It tends to be fairly expensive per click. It starts at $2 US per click. It quickly rises to $8 per click. We've tried it out before. We actually tried it out with our search engine optimization business. I got lots of people calling me for jobs. I didn't get anybody actually wanting to do a campaign with us. So didn't work out for us. Might work out for other folks, particularly if you're in the HR industry or human resources industry. Might also be good if you're targeting high income earners. 60% of the people who earn 100,000 US plus, 60% of those are on LinkedIn. So it's not a bad way of reaching those folks. We've tried Yelp advertising as well. Tends to be good for restaurants and hotels. Otherwise, we certainly didn't see the traffic that we've been hoping for. The cost per click wasn't particularly good either. We ended up not seeing any value in it. But again, if you're a restaurant or a hotel, might be worthwhile. Growth is gradual on Yelp. YouTube video ad. This is sort of cool. More for bigger companies, I think. So you pay when somebody watches your ad for more than 15 or 30 seconds. This stat, again, astounded me. Massive audience watching YouTube. So on mobile alone, more 18 to 49-year-olds watch YouTube during prime time in the United States than they do the top 10 primetime shows combined. So that's just on mobile. So you add desktop into that as well. Like, it's astounding how many people are watching YouTube at any point in the day. So pretty interesting as an audience. You're going to want to professionally produce that. I'm guessing this is going to really be more for car companies and banks and that sort of thing. I don't think you're going to find too many small businesses just putting the money into a professionally produced ad. But you know what? It's going to be competitive. It's going to be expensive relative to Facebook, but I'll bet you it's really, really competitive to television. So interesting stuff. Remarketing and retargeting. They're offered by Google and Facebook. It shows display ads to folks who have already hit your website once before. Your goal is to build and reinforce brand awareness, and your ultimate goal is to get them to call you when they're ready to buy. And the cost is next to nothing. So one of our clients, Arc Electric, what did I work out? It works out to 1/10 of a penny per impression is what he's paying right now. Like, it's just super, 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 super cheap. And again, these ads go out to a network of over 2 million websites, including some pretty big properties as well. So YouTube, Kijiji, and more. So amazing value. So again, here's an example of just a website my wife was on the other day, just a directory site, and all of a sudden this ad shows up for one of our clients because she'd already been there before. So it shows you're really able to get out to all sorts of different websites you may not have even thought of as being a part of it. So, okay, I want to do a deep dive into Facebook and Google and how to use them for research. I'm getting a little low on time here, so it's going to be relatively quick. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just share a different screen here. Bear with me for a second. And let's have a look here. So, ads manager, I think that's it. Okay, hopefully everybody can see this. This is the ads manager within Facebook. So if you're building a Facebook ad, and they've got lots of different ways to build Facebook ads, and when you're first starting out, they're just going to get you building an ad the easiest way you can. If you ever see the option to click on Ads Manager to have a little bit more more ability to manage it, click on it, because Ads Manager really allows you to get in there and into the bits and bytes of this thing. So let me just close that. Bear with me. So I've got this little ad set here. I'm just calling it Ivy ad set. You build a campaign for your Facebook campaign, and then you create a set of ads, and then inside that set of ads, you're going to create the individual ads. So it's a little bit of a hierarchy, but where I want to concentrate on for our purposes here is the ad set area. So I'm going to go into the ad set. I'm going to edit it. And I'm going to scroll down to where you pick your demographic audience. And what I really want to show here is how granularly you can find the audience that you want to go to. So right now I've got it set to all of Canada, and right now you can see here my ad is going to show up to 25 million people. So that's very, very, very broad. I probably want to be a little bit more narrow than that. So why don't I go to, there's a little town outside of London called Ilderton. So it comes up, I will select Ilderton, Ontario as where I want to go to, and I'm going to say Ilderton, only the city. I could also set a radius around Ilderton. And now this potential reach that I got, I went from 25 million people down to just those people who are on Facebook living in Ilderton, 7,400 people. So you can get very granular very quickly. How about if I put in a postal code? So I'll try N6H is where I am, N6H, London, Ontario, there we go. And I can actually show ads within this postal code area. So you can be very, very specific, again, about how you do it. Or I can put in my address, 2573 Sunningdale West, London, Ontario. And I'm going to say, show my ads to 1 mile around that address. And so again, very, very, very specific about how you can tour around and show your ads to a very small number of people, and it'll tell you how many people you're hitting at that same time as well. You can set the age that you want to go to, and then you can get into detailed targeting as well with other demographics. So demographics, I'll just browse through here and show you a couple of them. So demographics such as education. You could pick the schools where they went. If you want to find people who went to the Ivy Business School, for example, you can show ads to those folks. The years in which they went, their education level, whether they're PhD, doctorate, undergrad years, all sorts of things. Life events. Is it their anniversary? When is their anniversary? If they are starting a new job, in a new relationship, newly engaged. If they've got kids, let's go back. If you're targeting folks, I think that's under family. Bear with me here. Parents. So if they're parents of kids from 9 to 12 years old, or 6 to 8 years old, like you've got that ability to show your ads to very, very specific demographic audiences. So it's a great way of trying to get what size of market you're going after. And I encourage you, if you're interested in this sort of thing, to experiment and just take a look at what Facebook is reporting in terms of people who like classic cars, for example, or various other demographics that you might be targeting. The next thing I want to go to is how to use Google for some research now. So I'm going to go into this campaign that I've got here for Arc Electric. This is, you can see down at the bottom here, I've got Arc Electric remarketing. And this is in the past 5 days. There have been 6,600 impressions of his remarketing ads, and it cost us $1.75. Like, it's so inexpensive, it's phenomenal. But what I really want to go into, if you go up here to the top menu and click on Tools and go into Keyword Planner, you can now start digging and find out what people are searching for. So what's a good example? Well, you know what, I had somebody at a previous seminar who said that she wanted to manufacture scrunchies, you know, in the back of your hair for people with, you know, very thick hair. So if you search for scrunchies, if I can spell scrunchies, and we'll just take a look and see what Google is saying. Right now, my location is set for Canada, and you can see that there are 33,100 searches on average per month for scrunchies. If you want to get more narrow than that, velvet scrunchies, 1,000 people per month are looking for velvet scrunchies, hair scrunchies. Nobody's actually looking for scrunchies for people with thick hair. But you know what? Certain percentage of the folks that might be looking for a scrunchie might have thick hair, so it may be worthwhile going into that business if you can make the numbers work. You also have to though take a look at how much these ads are going to cost. So it'll tell you that if you're just trying to get your ads found for scrunchies, you're going to pay between 45 cents and $2.11 per click. So you better be making some money on those scrunchies if you're going to be doing that. Using the keyword planner is a super good way of doing research if you're looking at starting a new business. I should caution you, if you're just starting a Google campaign and you haven't started spending money, Google will narrow you down to only showing ranges. It'll say, well, here's the number of clicks. You're going to see 0 to 10 clicks for this phrase, or 10 to 100, or 100 to 1,000 clicks for this phrase, or and so on. It doesn't give you this more specific numbers that we're seeing in this chart here. So just start a campaign, you know, throw $5 at it, run it for a day just to get things rolling, and then pause it as soon as you've got your numbers, and you're good to go. You know, you might spend 25 cents, but you'll get phenomenal information out of it. So listen, I am at an hour and 1 minute now, so I think I'm I got through what I wanted to get through, but I didn't get any time for doing any Q&A unless you want to extend it a little bit, Alicia, but I'll leave that to you.
Thanks, Bruce. Thanks so much. It's been an absolute pleasure having you. Ton of information. It was a lot of really great practical information. Hopefully everyone was able to take some practical elements from this discussion and apply it to their own business. Unfortunately, due to time, we are going to have to wrap it up. So we do apologize for not getting to people's questions today. We do really encourage you, though, if you want to send those questions to entrepreneurship@uwo.ca. We'll do our best to get in touch with you around those questions. But once again, Bruce, it's been an absolute pleasure. There's so much information here. We had a really great time, and I'm sure just based on the comments here that everyone's been super impressed with the content here. So, you know, if ever you need help with your search engine optimization, obviously Bruce is your guy. So go ahead and check out Avalanche there. But Bruce, once again, thanks so much for joining us. And we'll have this recording for everyone out there. It's on one of our IB pages, one of our web pages. A link will be included in a follow-up email that you'll receive from Eventbrite. So you can go ahead and get that click, and we'll get this recording up within the next couple of days. But like I said, Bruce, thanks so much. It's been a pleasure having you.
It's been a pleasure being a part of this, and I hope people did get some value out of it. And yeah, I'm pretty easy to find. Bruce Lamb is my name. Avalanche Search Marketing is the company, avalanchesearch.com. Thanks very much.
Perfect. Thanks, Bruce. Take care, everyone.